Hey guys, welcome back to the Nerd Corner. I'm Josh.
And I'm Matt, and today we're going to be reviewing Annabelle.
You're going to enjoy this one.
I would like to introduce
Alright, well Matt and I saw Annabelle over the weekend, and I have to say, going into it, we both were thinking, this might possibly be the worst movie we ever saw. It might possibly be the best movie we ever saw. At least that was my idea. Coming out of it, spoiler alert, by the way, there will be heavy spoilers in this, so if you haven't seen Annabelle, you don't necessarily have to see it.
Go see The Conjuring.
Go see The Conjuring.
Come back.
And come back. Annabelle, at the beginning, it teased us so hard because we thought that this was going to be a great sequel to The Conjuring.
Oh my god. So the beginning of Annabelle was a good movie.
Yeah, we're like, whoa, this is actually going to be okay. Let's ride this out.
Yeah, so the beginning of it was good, but the middle and end just kind of went ahead and
it started really high, right? Coming back off The Conjuring, the cinematography looked good, production value was good.
That is one thing that, I'm just going to go ahead and stop right here. Let's stop the discussion. The cinematography in that movie was fantastic.
Yeah.
It was great cinematography.
If you want to watch a pretty movie, watch Annabelle. It's actually not bad looking at all. But let's talk about plot. It's like the writers of this went to the good old generic cliche plot book and we're like, that one sounds good. It's under horror section. Ingredients are generic characters.
Right.
Voodoo Mama Juju.
Voodoo Mama Juju.
Played by Viola Davis. The priest who
actually believes in demons. There's that guy.
And then there's the main characters, which are very gullible and end up reacting very awkwardly. You can always tell a bad plot when the characters react opposite of how you expect them. So
with the bad characters and with all this stuff happening at once, it was kind of like, I liked the mom character and the dad character was okay.
Well, I liked everybody at first.
Yeah, you like everybody at first. Okay, so the opening scene in the movie is where, she's talking about the baby, and they're talking about, oh, our daughter's gone in the church or whatever, and they're their next door neighbor's daughter's kind of gone. And so they come in, and they're like, well, we just moved here, and you're just like, oh, God, this is a haunted house,
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, it's not, and she's just she gets into a fight with the man, and then the man says, I brought you this, and they pull out Annabelle, right? Well, I mean, before this, they had the whole, Conjuring setup where they're like, where'd you get the doll?
Which is a very good setup.
It is a very good
setup.
That
whole room could lead to who knows how many different movies.
Exactly. And so, anyway, they say, here's your doll you've been looking for, because she's like a doll collector. And so, she's like, oh my God, that's what I wanted so much. And she's like, yeah. And so, they're talking about having a baby. Well, things turn sour really fast for the family, because the people, the daughter, the estranged daughter of the next door neighbors comes, and her boyfriend murder the neighbors.
Yeah, that was actually
that was a scary
when you watch
part.
that scene, you are drawn to it. You're like, oh my gosh, this movie is going to be high octane, and it's just gonna keep you at that level for the entire time. Such a good scene, but such a bad movie. I mean, Matt said it was I think it was atrocious. I would gladly get my money back to watch another movie.
So they go in and they kill the parents, right? And then they come in, and that was the creepiest part of the movie. So they're in their house, and that was the weird thing, because that was the most real thing, and it was the scariest thing too, which is kind of weird, because usually the paranormal stuff's scary, but this time it wasn't. They come in, and they stab the mom in the stomach. And she's of course, the famous line from the trailer, I like your doll. She's like, I like your doll. Yeah, and so she slits her throat, and you see the blood drip down, and then the title comes up, Annabelle, right? Yeah. And it's like, she slits her throat, and the blood drips down into Annabelle. And so you're like, uh-oh, something's going to happen, But then it takes a turn for the worse because you see like stuff starting to happen. That's cool, like the whole little like, oh, she's a ghost, she's haunting the thing.
Yeah.
But then Voodoo Mama Juju comes and she's like, oh, I've dealt with demons before, and that's a demon. And then they just go ahead and rip off Insidious.
Yeah, it was a nightmare of a movie to watch. Let me just say that because okay, it's so disappointing because, like Matt and I said, the intro is so good. Because it was at such a high level, and then it starts trying to do too much. Like, it stops focusing on the doll, because I was telling Matt on the car ride home, like, the entire movie could have just centered around the doll, but they try to give it so many different, like, they had to show you why it was alive. Like, it was like, let's do every, God, why I'm missing the word.
Horror movie trope.
Yes, everyone in the book, we have to do it or else they won't understand that this movie's supposed to be scary. It's like, no, we got it. The doll itself is creepy. Like, if you've seen the doll, it looks scary.
The doll itself could have handled the movie. The doll possessed by Annabelle.
Yeah.
But I was confused. Was it possessed by Annabelle or the Insidious demon?
We don't know. We still don't know exactly.
So the worst part of the movie, the part that I actually laughed at, was the part. It was scary when you first saw it. It was when the doll sits up.
It starts levitating.
And then it like starts to like stand up and then it levitates. And you're like, oh my gosh, like that's scary. But then it pulls back and it's Darth Maul.
Q Insidious.
Yeah, Q Insidious Darth Maul demon, and it's got the Annabelle. And you're like, that's not scary. That's really bad CGI.
Yeah, by giving Annabelle like someone controlling it, it takes away from the creepiness. Because the creepiness to me was all in the doll. But then you give it like, you take away from the mystery. They almost like, by trying to make the movie scarier, they actually took away from the movie. They try to do too much. And then there's a scene where she's like stuck in the elevator, and it started off really creepy. Like the doors keep closing and there's only one floor.
Yeah.
But then the demon chases after her and it stops being scary. Oh. You're like, this crappy CGI demon is chasing after the wife or whatever, and you're just like, come on guys, you're so much better than this. We know you're better than this.
They make The Conjuring, which was scary. It dealt with demons too. It dealt with Belial, but it dealt with that really well.
And they waited till the very end to show like the demon. But they didn't even show the demon, they showed the woman possessed by the demon.
They should have just shown the doll possessed. They could have talked about demons. Literally, what ruined this movie to me, besides the stereotype Voodoo Mama Juju and the priest and the generic dad character, is the fact that they took this awesome possessed doll and they turned it not awesome by giving a CGI demon. Like I said, they gave her Darth Maul, pretty much. And that's what he looked like. He looked like Darth Maul. He was not well done at all.
You know, we were sitting through it and we're like, it has to get better at some point. It has to get, like, you know, this is just the middle of the story, it's just a lull, and it gets to the end, right? And it's supposed to be the big climax, and you see the wife scurrying around the house because she's trying to find her baby, because, spoiler alert, again, the entire thing's based on Annabelle's trying to steal the soul of the baby in Innocent. And I mean, that's all fine and dandy. But then
plot twist happens. Yeah. They can't take the soul of an innocent because apparently demons can't take souls. They have to be offered them. So they decide, well, why don't we just ransom the baby for the mom's soul? So the demon takes the baby and does all this crazy mind stuff with the woman and just like, give me your soul, jump out this window, kill yourself. And then the black lady comes.
And okay, let's set this up. Let's set the scene up. The wife is gonna do it, right? She's holding the baby, and the husband bursts in. He's like, no, don't do it. I love you. There has to be another way. It's easier than this. And we're like, oh my god, you know, cringing the entire time. And then she's like, finally, she's about to jump, and the husband grabs her, and we're like, oh, we didn't see that coming. And so everything's okay, and they were like, you know, we'll find another way. They could have ended it right there. We would have gone home and been like, that was a bad movie, the end. But, cue Voodoo Mama Juju, she's like, I finally realized all these years.
It was God's purpose for me to sell my soul to the devil. Like
that makes perfect sense.
That makes sense.
That makes perfect sense.
Because what the worst part about it was like when they first introduced her and she's like, I know about these things because I'm black. Like, you know, but the problem is they never set that up. They just say that her daughter dies.
Yes.
And that's it. That's all. And she's like, I came back from heaven, and by the way, God has a purpose for you. This is your purpose. Don't kill yourself, Mom. And then she like, and like, you know, she just dies, right? And then you're like, what? God has a purpose for you, and your purpose is to sell your soul
to the devil.
To Darth Maul.
I just imagine the script writers, right? They're sitting in a room, and they're like, okay, guys, I'm so sick of this movie. Let's just freaking end it. Kill Voodoo Mama Juju, and we're going home. Just wrap it up.
How do we top The Conjuring? Well, you know what, guys? Let's just go ahead and just throw in Darth Maul and have him move like
Guys, okay, I saw a movie over the weekend. It's called Insidious.
It's called Insidious.
I feel like we need to do that again.
Exactly.
But make it less scary than it already was. And butcher it. Let's just butcher the Insidious.
Let's just go ahead and have this super huge hyped movie, which is Annabelle, which is the sequel movie to The Conjuring. It is a companion movie to my favorite horror movie of all time. I don't know if it's your favorite.
I absolutely love
It's
The
my
Conjuring.
favorite horror movie of all time. And it's like, let's go ahead and have this companion, and let's make it the most generic horror movie we can. Now, you said it was terrible.
I said it was terrible, yeah.
I think there were some redeeming qualities of it. Like I said, the cinematography was good. I enjoyed the doll when it was creepy, and I enjoyed the opening scene. Both opening scenes, pretty much.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, it just was meh. Like, literally, it was like, I wouldn't recommend going to see it if you're, like, a huge fan of The Conjuring.
Not at all.
But, I mean, it was passable. It was passable to me.
Okay. My opinion differs a little bit from Matt's. I don't even think it was passable. I think it belongs in like the 20 horror film pack. Like, the production quality, like obviously it had a big budget. Like people invested money into this movie. It's like why? But like it's just they threw it all away. It's just disgusting and I feel sick.
Well, I hope if they make a Conjuring 2, like an actual like The Conjuring 2 with Ed and Lorraine Warren, or whatever their name is, I hope they make it better. That was one of the things that also hurt this movie was the actors in it. Now the mom character was okay. The dad character was all right, but when you got into Voodoo Mama Juju and
the priest,
even like Annabelle, like the actors who played Annabelle was kind of
And I've seen I'm pretty sure I've seen all these actors and actresses in other movies, and they were really good. Like, don't get me wrong. Any other movie, these actors are probably great, but you put them in Annabelle, it's like they don't know what they're doing.
It's the material. You know, they don't have the material to work with.
They have nothing to go on.
Exactly. And they made like the most generic, like cookie cutter plot. Like, you know, it's literally like they were driving down horror movie lane in the suburbs and they're like, that's a house that looks very similar to Insidious. Let's go ahead and rent it out. You know? And that was just it. Having the Conjuring name actually kind of hurt it a little bit because, like I said, the Conjuring was such a great horror film, and then they introduced Annabelle, which, like I said, run-of-the-mill cookie cutter stuff, just with the Conjuring name stamped on. And I'm hoping that if they ever make a Conjuring 2 with, you know, Vera Farmiga and the dude's name who plays Night Owl, I don't even know who he plays Night Owl.
I know who you're talking about.
But anyway, if they
Patrick
make it,
Wilson? Maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, but if they make it, I hope they make it with those people because they need actors' names who can like kind of carry the movie a little bit, and that's why The Conjuring was good. So.
All right, you have it from us. I mean, maybe your opinion's different. I hope it's not because then you have no taste in movies.
Exactly.
But I've been Josh,
and I'm Matt. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe.